Welcome to Saltwater Stories. Get ready to explore some truly ancient and wonderfully weird life forms with us today.
Sounds great.
Can you imagine creatures that have possibly been around for a jaw-dropping 640 million years? Maybe even,
Mhm.
maybe even longer.
It's pretty incredible when you think about it.
And they're found almost everywhere there's water. From sunny, shallow spots down to the really, really deep ocean, even some freshwater lakes.
That's right. They're incredibly widespread.
And here's the kicker. These are animals that get by just fine without a brain or a heart or even a stomach.
Seems impossible, doesn't it?
It really does. Today, we're exploring the fascinating world of sea sponges.
Ah, yes, sea sponges. When you see pictures of reefs or the seabed, they often just blend in, don't they?
Totally, like weird rocks or maybe some kind of seaweed. Easy to overlook.
Exactly. But as you said, they are definitely animals. They're invertebrates, which just means they don't have a backbone.
Okay.
And they belong to this big group called porifera. That name actually tells you a lot. It means pore bearers.
Pore bearers. Okay, so these tiny holes, these pores, are super important to how they live.
Absolutely fundamental. That's the whole system.
And we know they're missing the usual animal gear, no brain, no nerves like ours, no muscles for moving around, no stomach.
Right. None of that.
But what's so interesting is they do share some really key animal things. Like they're made of many cells.
Multicellular. Yeah.
They have to eat other living things. They don't have those stiff plant cell walls. And get this, they produce sperm. It really makes you think about what animal even means.
It really does broaden the definition, doesn't it? And when you look at where they fit in the whole story of life on Earth, well, it gets even more amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The evidence we have now strongly suggests sponges might be the oldest group of animals still around today.
Wow. Oldest?
Potentially, yes. We're talking origins possibly hundreds of millions of years before, dinosaurs or fish or anything like that really showed up properly.
It's mind-blowing. Our sources mention a few different clues pointing to this ancient history, like actual fossils.
hmm There are these mesh-like structures found up in Canada. They're almost 900 million years old.
900 million.
Yeah. And they look a lot like spongin, that flexible stuff in some sponges. Now, okay, interpreting really old soft-bodied fossils is always a bit tricky,
Sure.
but it's a very compelling piece of the puzzle.
Definitely. And it's not just fossils, right? There's something about chemical clues.
Exactly. Chemical fingerprints left behind in ancient rocks. Scientists found this specific type of molecule, a sterol, called 24-IPC.
Okay, sterile. What's that, basically?
Think of them like essential building blocks for cell membranes. Cholesterol is a common sterol in us, for example.
Gotcha.
Well, this 24-IPC seems to be a kind of chemical signature, almost like a label, that points strongly towards early sponges, and they found it in rocks from about 640 million years ago.
640 million years ago. Just a molecule telling that story. That's amazing, a chemical selfie.
Kind of like that, yeah.
Mhm.
It fundamentally changes when we think complex animal life might have started.
And I read there's also genetic evidence that backs this up, like DNA detective work.
That's the third piece. Scientists looked at the genes in living sponges, specifically the gene called SMT, that lets them make that 24-IP sterol.
Mm-hmm.
By figuring out how that gene evolved over time, they estimated that sponges got really good at making 24-IPC right around. You guessed it, 640 million years ago.
Whoa. So the chemical date and the genetic date match up.
Pretty much bang on. So you've got the physical fossils, maybe, the chemical traces, and the genetic timeline, all suggesting sponges are incredibly ancient.
That's really strong evidence then. Just picturing these simple creatures way back then, the planet must have been so different.
Oh, completely different. And, there's been some debate, the great animal debate with cum jellies maybe being first.
I saw that mentioned.
But yeah, the more recent evidence, especially the chemical and genetic stuff, really does seem to point strongly towards sponges being the first branch on the animal family tree.
Okay, so they're ancient. How on earth do they manage to live without all those organs we think animals need?
Well, it all comes down to that name, pore bearers. Their whole body plan is basically designed for moving water.
Like living filters.
Mhm.
I read water comes in through tons and tons of tiny little holes all over them. Ostia.
Ostia, that's right. Countless tiny intake pores. Then the water flows through this whole network of canals and chambers inside.
Ah.
Before it gets pushed out through one or more bigger exit holes, those are called oscula. Some also have a main central cavity, the spongocle.
So it's just this constant flow of water going in the little holes and out the big one.
Exactly. And that flow is how they do everything. Eat, breathe, get rid of waste.
And it's all done by specialized cells, like a team.
Precisely. Think of it like a little factory floor with different workers. You've got the really important ones called collar cells or choanocytes.
Polycytes.
Each one has this little whip-like tail, a flagellum, that beats like crazy. Altogether, they create the current pulling water through the sponge.
Ah, so they're the engine.
They're the engine. And they have this sticky mesh-like collar around the base of the flagellum that traps tiny food particles drifting by bacteria, bits of plankton.
So they power the flow and catch the food.
Clever.
Very clever design. Then you have the amoebocytes. These guys are like the roving workers, the jacks of all trades.
The delivery guys and the construction crew.
Exactly. They crawl around inside the sponge wall. They pick up the food parcels from the collar cells and deliver nutrients to other cells. They also transport waste away.
Okay.
And crucially, they build the sponge's skeleton. This can be made of tiny, sharp structures called spicules.
Spicules, like little spikes.
Yeah, like microscopic spikes.
Mm-hmm.
They can be made of silica, which is basically glass, or calcium carbonate, like seashell material. Or in some sponges, like bath sponges, they make a flexible protein network called spongin.
So glass, rock, or protein skeletons.
Wow. And here's something amazing about amoebocytes. They're totipotent.
Totipotent. It means they can change into almost any other type of sponge cell when needed, like stem cells. They can even become egg cells.
Shape-shifting cells. That's wild. That must be why they can regenerate so well.
That's a huge part of it, yes. That cellular flexibility is key.
Okay, so collar cells for flow and food, amoebocytes for delivery, building, and shape-shifting. Who else is on the team?
Well, you've got the pinacocytes. They form this sort of outer skin layer and line some of the canals. They can change the sponge's shape just a tiny bit.
Like a skin.
Then some sponges have porocytes. These are tube-shaped cells that actually form some of the pores, the ostia. They act like little gates or valves controlling water entry.
Doorways.
Kind of, yeah. And finally, around the big exit holes, the oscula, you often find myocytes. These cells can contract sort of like tiny muscles to help control how much water flows out.
Okay, so let me see if I got this. Collar cells move water and grab food. Amoebocytes deliver food, build the skeleton, and can become other cells. Pinacocytes make the skin. Porocytes are some of the doorways, and myocytes control the exits.
You got it. It's this amazing coordination between different cell types all working together without a central brain telling them what to do.
Incredible. So how does eating work then, with just cells?
It's all tied to that water flow. The collar cells trap the microscopic food, right?
Right.
Then the food is actually digested inside those cells or passed to the amoebocytes for digestion and distribution. It's called intracellular digestion within cells.
Not in the stomach, but in the cells themselves.
Exactly. And the amoebocytes carry the nutrients around. You know, they have to filter a ton of water to get just a little bit of food.
How much water are we talking?
Well, imagine maybe needing to filter all the water in your bathtub just to get like one tiny bite of food. It's that kind of scale for some sponges. They're constantly working.
Wow. Okay, that puts it in perspective. And breathing. No lungs, obviously.
Nope, much simpler. Since water is always flowing past pretty much every cell, oxygen just diffuses directly from the water into the cells.
Ah, straight from the water.
And carbon dioxide, the waste gas, just diffuses out the other way into the water current to be flushed away. Very efficient.
And pooping. How does that work?
Also tied to the water flow. Waste products from the cells can be carried away by those busy amoebocytes, or they just diffuse directly into the water flowing through the canals.
And out the big hole, the osculum.
And out the osculum it goes. Fun fact, that sponge poop, the waste particles they release, can actually be food for other small creatures living nearby. Nothing goes to waste.
Recycling built right in. Okay, but what about reacting? If you touch a sponge, does it do anything? Does it feel it?
Well, they don't feel it like we do because they lack nerves and a brain, but they can react to things in their environment.
No.
Those myocytes around the oscula, the exit holes, they can contract to make the opening smaller or even close it temporarily if the sponge is disturbed or if the water quality gets bad.
Okay, like a reflex.
Kind of, yeah. And the porocytes can close off the pores too. It's a basic response. Imagine like an automatic door closing if something bumps into it.
Makes sense.
And get this, Some types, especially the glass sponges, can actually send really slow electrical signals across their bodies. Not like our nerve impulses, much slower, but it allows for some coordination, like maybe coordinating the stopping of feeding currents.
Low motion electrical signals.
Yeah.
They just keep getting weirder and cooler.
They really are full of surprises, and the variety among them is just staggering.
Yeah, the pictures are amazing. How many kinds are there?
Over 8,550 known species right now, but scientists think there could be thousands more we haven't discovered yet, especially in the deep sea.
Wow. And they're grouped based on their skeletons, right? The spicules.
Mostly, yes. The biggest group, like 90% of all sponges, is the demospongi. They usually have skeletons of that flexible spongin or silica spicules, or sometimes both. Your classic bath sponge fits here.
Okay, demospongi, got it.
Then you have the hexactinellida, the glass sponges. Their skeletons are made purely of silica spicules, often fused together into these incredibly intricate, beautiful lattice structures, mostly deep-sea dwellers.
Like glass sculpture.
Exactly. Then there are the calcarea, which, as the name suggests, have spicules made of calcium carbonate. They tend to live in shallower waters.
Calcareous, like corals and shells.
Right. And finally, a smaller group called homoscleromorpha, which have much simpler spicules, or sometimes none at all.
But it's not just the skeletons. Their shapes are wild.
Oh, absolutely all over the place. And those shapes aren't random. They're adaptations. A flat, encrusting sponge might do well where waves crash, while a tall vase shape might be better for catching food in calmer water.
Our sources had great descriptions, like round ones, almost like balls.
Yep, softball shapes.
Flat ones spreading out like carpets.
Encrusting, yeah.
Branching ones like underwater trees.
Or antlers sometimes.
Fancy vase and cup shape.
Very elegant.
Huge barrel sponges.
Massive, like underwater barrels, truly.
Lumpy boulder shapes. Cube clusters like organ pipes. Stringy rope-like ones.
Mm-hmm.
And those amazing delicate Venus flower baskets.
It's the glass lattices, yeah. And don't forget the boring sponges.
Oh, right, the ones that drill into things.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They tunnel into shells and coral rock. Important recyclers.
And the colors, so many bright colors.
Vibrant oranges, yellows, reds, purples, blues. It's not totally clear why, but it could be for protection against the sun's UV rays in shallow water. Or maybe a warning to predators. Don't eat me, I taste bad.
Like warning colors on insects. And size. They're not all huge barrels, right?
Oh, no, huge range. Some are tiny, like the size of a bean. Others, like those barrel sponges, can be big enough for a person to fit inside.
Wow.
And the Venus flower basket can grow like 4 feet tall. They occupy pretty much every marine habitat, from the tropics to the poles, shallow reefs to the abyssal plains, and about 150 species even live in freshwater.
Freshwater sponges, I didn't know that.
Yep, usually attached to rocks or logs in lakes and streams. As adults, they're all sessile, stuck in one place.
Okay, so stuck in place, filtering away. Let's talk about some cool examples. I like the orange puffball sponge from the West Coast.
Yeah, Tethya aurantia. Bright orange, found in kelp forests, and known for being really good at regenerating if damaged.
And the Venus flower basket, so beautiful, that glass structure. And the story about the shrimp trapped inside.
Euplectella. Yes, often a pair of small shrimp move in when they're tiny and get trapped as the sponge grows its lattice. They live their whole lives inside, cleaning it. And in Japan, it's sometimes given as a wedding gift, symbolizing till death do us part.
That's kind of sweet and a bit weird.
Then there are the giant barrel sponges, Zestispongia muta, in the Caribbean. They can live for centuries, maybe even millennia, and they're hugely important habitats on the reef. Real landmarks.
Living landmarks.
And those boring sponges, Cleona species mostly, they dissolve calcium carbonate, breaking down old coral skeletons and shells, which helps recycle those minerals back into the ecosystem.
Essential recyclers. And the fire sponge. You mentioned it gives a rash.
Tedania ignis, yeah, common in the Atlantic and Caribbean. Touching it can cause a painful skin irritation because of the chemicals it produces. Definitely admire from a distance.
Good tip. Now, regeneration.
Yeah.
You said the amoebocytes help, but how good are they at it?
Astonishingly good. Because those amoebocytes are totipotent, they can move to a damaged area and basically rebuild whatever's missing patch holes, regrow sections.
Wow.
Some studies have even shown that if you break a sponge down into individual cells, like through a sieve, those cells can crawl back together, recognize each other, and reorganize themselves into a whole new functioning sponge.
No way. That's like
Yeah.
breaking a Lego model and having the bricks crawl back together to rebuild it.
It's kind of like that, an incredible survival mechanism.
Okay, that's survival covered.
Uh-huh.
How do they make more sponges? You said sperm earlier.
Right. They have two main ways. Sexual and asexual reproduction.
Okay.
Sexually, most sponges are hermaphrodites, meaning one sponge can make both sperm and eggs, though usually at different times to avoid self-fertilization.
Makes sense.
Typically, they release sperm into the water current. If that sperm gets drawn into another sponge of the same species, it can fertilize an egg held inside that sponge.
So fertilization happens inside the mom sponge.
Often, yes. The fertilized egg then develops into a tiny swimming larva. It's usually covered in little hairs called cilia that help it swim around for a while.
So it can spread out.
Exactly. Dispersal is key. Since the adults can't move, the larva swims or drifts until it finds a good spot to settle down, attaches, and transforms into a miniature adult sponge.
A swimming baby sponge finding a new home? Cool. And the other way, asexual.
Yep, they have a couple of asexual methods too. One is budding. A small outgrowth, a bud, forms on the parent sponge. It develops into a little sponge and might either break off to start a new life or stay attached, forming a colony.
Like branches growing off.
Kind of. And then there are gemmules. These are amazing little survival pods, especially common in those freshwater sponges that have to deal with freezing or drying out.
Survival pods.
Yeah, basically a cluster of those amazing amoebocytes loaded with stored food, surrounded by a tough protective coat, sometimes with spicules embedded in it. They can survive really harsh conditions.
Like a seed.
Very much like a seed or a spore, yeah. When conditions become favorable again, the water returns, or it thaws, the gemmule hatches, and the cells inside form a new sponge. It's a brilliant strategy for surviving tough times.
Gemmules. That's a great word.
Okay.
So they survive, they reproduce. But what do they do for the ecosystem? Their jobs.
Oh, huge roles. We keep coming back to it, but their filtering ability is massive. They are super filters.
Right. Cleaning the water.
Exactly. They remove bacteria, tiny plankton, bits of debris. This keeps the water clear, which is especially vital for things like coral reefs that need sunlight. They also cycle nutrients, taking dissolved stuff out of the water and releasing waste that other small organisms can eat.
The janitors and recyclers again.
Definitely. But they're also builders, in a way. They create structure.
Ah, the underwater apartments.
Precisely. Their complex shapes and internal spaces provide shelter, nurseries, and just places to live for countless other animals. Tiny fish, shrimp, crabs, brittle stars, worms, snails, you name it.
Thousands in one sponge, I read.
Sometimes tens of thousands. One study found over 16,000 small shrimp in a single loggerhead sponge. They massively increase biodiversity just by being there. Some fish even lay their eggs inside sponges for safety.
It's like a whole miniature ecosystem inside a sponge. Incredible.
Yeah.
But are they just providers? Do things eat them?
Oh, yes. Despite their defenses, some animals specialize in eating sponges. They're called spongivores.
Spongivores. Like carnivore, but for sponges.
Exactly. Certain species of sea stars, some nudibranches, those colorful sea slugs, and certain fish like angelfish and filefish have adapted to eat them.
Oh.
And probably the most famous spongivore is the hawksbill sea turtle. Sponges make up a huge part of their diet, especially in the Caribbean. They have tough beaks that can handle the spicules.
Wow. Turtles munching on spiky sponges. It must be tough.
They are. And finally, sponges contribute to the physical environment too. Some, over time, help build up reef structures. And those boring sponges we mentioned are crucial recyclers, breaking down old calcium carbonate structures.
So builders and recyclers, they really are ecosystem engineers, aren't they?
That's a perfect term for them. They actively shape their environment.
And to survive in that busy environment, they need defenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Besides being hard to chew.
Absolutely. Since they can't swim away, they rely heavily on other strategies. Chemical warfare is a big one.
Chemical weapons.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Totally. Many sponges produce a cocktail of nasty chemicals, secondary metabolites that taste awful or poisonous, stop larvae from settling nearby, or prevent infections.
Wow. Like the fire sponge.
Exactly. Its chemicals cause that rash. It's a clear, don't touch me signal. And interestingly, sometimes it's not just the sponge itself making these chemicals. The vast communities of microbes, bacteria, mostly living inside the sponge tissues, often produce these defensive compounds for their host. It's teamwork.
The tiny tenants help defend the apartment building. That's amazing.
Isn't it? And then, of course, there's the physical defense you mentioned, the spicules.
The spiky skeleton.
Right. Those sharp needles of glass or calcium carbonate provide support, but they also make the sponge really unpleasant and potentially damaging to eat for most animals, like trying to chew on fiberglass or tiny shards of rock.
Yeah, no thanks. Built-in armor.
Pretty much. Though, as we saw with the hawksbill turtle, specialized predators can sometimes overcome these defenses. And sponges might concentrate these defenses, both chemical and physical, in their outer layers where attacks are most likely.
Smart. Target the defense where it's needed most. It's like an arms race down there.
It really is a constant evolutionary push and pull.
And we've hinted at these partnerships. Symbiosis, right? It's not just about defense chemicals.
Not at all. The relationship sponges have with microbes, bacteria, archaea, even fungi is incredibly intimate and important.
How important?
Well, these microbes can make up a huge chunk of the sponge's actual volume, sometimes like 40 or 50%.
Half bacteria.
In some cases, yeah. And it's often mutualistic, both sides benefit. The microbes can help the sponge get nutrients, process waste, produce those defensive chemicals, maybe even provide UV protection.
And the sponge gives them.
A safe, stable place to live with a constant flow of water bringing nutrients. It's such a tight partnership that scientists often call the sponge and its microbial community together a holobiont.
A holobiont.
Yeah.
Like a superorganism.
Kind of, yeah. A walking, filtering mini ecosystem in itself.
Wow. And then they're the ones that use sunlight with algae inside.
Yes. That's another common and really important symbiosis, especially in shallower, sunnier waters. Sponges host photosynthetic algae or cyanobacteria within their tissues.
Like corals do with zooxanthellae.
Exactly like that. The algae or cyanobacteria photosynthesize, use sunlight to make sugars, and they share a lot of that energy, sometimes up to 80%, with the sponge host.
Free food from the sun.
Pretty much. And in return, the sponge provides a protected home and essential nutrients for photosynthesis, like carbon dioxide and nitrogen waste. The sponge's often thin body structure helps sunlight reach these internal partners.
Solar-powered sponges. That's brilliant.
It really is. And then you have slightly larger roommates, too.
Right, like decorator crabs sticking bits of sponge on themselves for camouflage.
Yep. And those shrimp living inside the Venus flower basket, cleaning it in return for food and shelter. Sponges are just hubs of interaction.
They really are central players. And what about us? Humans and sponges. It's not just bath time, is it?
Hey, no, although that's where it started for many cultures. The ancient Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, they all used natural sea sponges for bathing, cleaning, painting, even padding helmets.
Helmets. Didn't know that.
Yeah. And sponge diving, especially in places like Greece and later Tarpon Springs in Florida, was a major industry for a long time. Of course, most sponges we use now are synthetic.
Right, the plastic ones.
But the really exciting connection now is with modern medicine. Bioprospecting, they call it.
Looking for drugs.
Exactly. Remember all those chemicals sponges make for defense? Well, because they've evolved over millions of years to interfere with the biological processes of other organisms, predators, competitors, microbes. Those same chemicals can be incredibly effective against human diseases.
Ah, because they're designed to mess with living cells.
Precisely. They're a massive, largely untapped library of potential pharmaceuticals.
And have we actually found useful drugs from them?
Oh, yes. Some really important ones. The anti-cancer drugs Cyarbine and Halavin were developed from compounds originally found in sponges.
Wow, cancer drugs.
And antiviral drugs, too. Acyclovir, used against herpes, and even AZT, one of the first HIV drugs, trace their origins back to compounds discovered in a Caribbean sponge, Tictitethia crypta.
That's incredible. Simple sponges leading to life-saving medicines.
And the search continues. Scientists are finding compounds with potential anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antifungal, even anti-malarial properties all the time. It really underscores why protecting sponge habitats like coral reefs and the deep sea is so crucial. We might be destroying cures before we even find them.
That's a powerful point. Protect the sponges, protect future medicine. Are there other cool connections?
Well, there's that amazing behavior of dolphins in Shark Bay, Australia.
Oh, yeah. What do they do?
Some of them have learned to break off a basket sponge, fit it over their snout, their rostrum.
Wear it like a glove.
Kind of. They use it to protect their nose while they poke around on the sandy seafloor, digging for fish hidden there. It's a fantastic example of tool use in marine mammals, passed down from mother to calf.
Dolphins using sponge tools. That's awesome.
And the structure of those glass sponges, the Hexactinellida, their skeletons are incredibly strong but lightweight, and they transmit light really well, almost like natural fiber optics.
So engineers are looking at them.
Absolutely. Their intricate lattice structure is inspiring ideas for new fiber optic cables, stronger and lighter building materials, maybe even more efficient solar cells. Nature figured it out millions of years ago.
Nature's engineers. It's incredible how much we can learn from them.
Truly is.
So let's just recap. Sea sponges. possibly the most ancient animals on Earth, living miracles of simplicity that function without organs, relying on water flow and specialized cells.
Masters of filtration.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They come in this mind-boggling variety of shapes, sizes, colors. They're crucial to ocean health, cleaning water, providing homes, cycling nutrients.
And defending themselves with amazing chemical and physical tools.
Right. Forming close partnerships with microbes and algae, and even providing inspiration and potential cures for us.
Oh.
They might look simple, but wow, they are complex and vital.
Their importance for healthy oceans and potentially for human health really can't be overstated. They're unsung heroes.
Definitely. So here's a thought to leave you with. Some of the most ancient, simplest-looking creatures on Earth might hold keys to solving really complex human problems, from medicine to material science. What other seemingly unassuming organisms out there might have incredible secrets just waiting for us to discover?
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does. A huge thank you for joining us today on Saltwater Stories as we explored the wonderful world of sea sponges.